Bruce is a big believer. There's a tool for every job. Here's a look at the brand new McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, Batman v Superman, Platinum Edition, Batman Armor Suits. Gotham City's formidable, forceful vigilante takes on Metropolis's most revered modern-day savior, while a new threat quickly arises, putting mankind in greater danger than it's ever known before. Okay, everybody, we're about to start the game of mothers that start with M. Oh, Clark, I see you want to go first. Before we get a closer look, though, at the Batman v Superman Platinum Edition Dawn of Justice, there was a whole bunch of things squished together there. Basically, the recolored armored Batman. We've already looked at this figure before, but maybe not with the greenish tint that you see currently casting on the side of this figure's body. Before we get down to the details, though, on the figure, let's first take the tape measures, shall we, and see how tall the figure stands. Batman is still going to be the same at 7 3/4 of an inch in height. He is. You can see for yourself. That translates, though, to a figure that's 19 centimeters tall. Gotten this figure before? No way. Yes way. In fact, we already got the exact same mold before, although the one that we've already had a look at is much shinier of a chrome finish. Also, the original one never came included with the Kryptonite spear. That's now been rectified. This figure right here, has the Kryptonite spear he's going to use to kill the Kryptonian. Funny, though, enough that we already got that Kryptonian spear. He came in accompanying, actually, both Superman and Doomsday. I've now since retired the Snyder Cut release Superman. Not only was he too tall, but he also, this one, now features a fabric cape. And speaking of fabric capes, one could be a good opportunity as well to bring in the original Batman that also had a very similar style of fabric cape. Speaking of samesies, though, the Kryptonite spear isn't the only thing that gets borrowed over from another figure. In fact, Batman also comes included with the exact same trading card, and the proof is in the pudding, the exact same trading card that we've already gotten before. I think this could have been an opportunity that they could have maybe used a different card, but to be fair, though, as well, it's a Platinum Edition release. They tend to use a lot of borrowed over accessories. The trading card, though, also has the exact same information on the back, so if you were to look at this, you'd also be looking at this one as well. Usually when a case like this comes around where I have like duplicate cards, somebody has asked me this in another review, what do you do with extra cards? A lot of times, though, I'll just kind of double them up like this. Put one on top of the other. This one will just be suffocating. I'll put this one over top, and I'll basically just slide the two together into my trading card sleeves. That's usually how I roll. You roll a different way, roll a different way. Don't let somebody else tell you what you need to do with your life and your trading cards. That's a big learning lesson for today's video. Something also to be learned in this video as well is that the figure does come included with the exact same display stand. Say what? Yes. The DC logo branded down below. The neighboring peg, don't need to be branding that. That's going to plug into either one of Bat's boots. Whew. Then on to the figure's other accessories. He does also come included with a couple of swappable hands. I was going to say closed grip hands, but technically that only would apply to the one hand. As you can see, this is a good punching hand. Until, of course, the Kryptonite mist starts to wear off, and then he realizes, oh, Superman, oh no, I'm going to have to spray him again. Spray him again, spray him again. The figure does also come included with a gripping hand, so either one of these hands could easily then be swapped out with the hands that he has right now. Why do I look like I'm milking a cow? Pop these bad boys off from their forearms, replace them with these bad boys. Although, again, like when you're looking at them, obviously, you can only put the punching hand on one side. This other hand, everybody knows, when you have to punch somebody, form a fist, because if you don't, you're going to run the risk of breaking off fingers. I say that, though. I've never really been in some serious fights. I've been into verbal fights. I never had to use these bad boys to do that, though. And I always feel like I was victorious in my verbal onslaughts. Anyways, moving these things off to the side. Fights aside, though, the figure does also come included with the Kryptonite spear, which I guess would be settling any fight he would have with a Kryptonian. The Kryptonite spear, if you're looking at this, happens to be the exact same spear that we got with Superman. I got to say right away, I like the color of the darker gray. Oh, is there tape right there? Did I never notice that before? Look at that piece of tape. Look at that right there. We're wasting up time. We're eating up time. Let's move that off to the side. Okay. Same Kryptonite spear as it came included with Superman. Now, Superman's was a lighter silver. I actually think the darker silver works a little bit better. They're still pretty crooked, though. When you get them out of the packaging, look at the sad state of these. I don't know if you necessarily would need to heat these with hot water. I mean, even just a hairdryer would be more than enough. But I feel with the thinness of this and the fact that there's so much more of the plastic dedicated to the end spike, I think it's always going to be a case that's being crooked. Say otherwise, all right, we can get into a verbal onslaught, you and me. This does fit into his hands, though. He already does have gripping hands stated already. So we'll go ahead and just kind of put this into Superman's fist right now. You don't really, I mean, you can kind of pry the plastic. The plastic at least is soft enough. And just sort of just get the Kryptonite spear. Ooh, struggle. Get that into his hand. Although I didn't do a very good job right there, did I? Let's try it again. We won't give up on this. Never give up. That's another learning lesson we can say in this video. If you feel like life gets hard, just keep, pushing through it. Anyways, that's what he looks like, though, with the Kryptonite spear in his hand. I mean, kind of keeps Superman far enough away, so he's not gonna be suffer anything from that. The figure doesn't come include with any other accessories. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, where's the grenade gun, for example? Where's some of the other accessories? Wait for that, because the 2-pack Nightmare Batman and another variation of this guy, we're going to be looking at them in an upcoming review, and they're going to basically like fill in all the little blanks that we've got right now of missing accessories. That set is going to come and basically include with everything that you'll need. It's also going to come with a more closer finish to looking like this guy. Oh, it's going to have the battle damaged face. Stay tuned for that. I'm just shamelessly plugging all the upcoming reviews that are going to be coming to this channel. In the meantime, though, at least, let's go ahead and just remove the spear right now, put that off to the side. Getting, though, a closer look at the Platinum Edition's Batman. I actually did acquire this one from the Facebook selling group. Not that I don't want to shamelessly be plugging the Facebook selling group, but got him for a good price. I picked him up for a good price, and that's what led us to this dance right now. The thing that's kind of interesting, though, about this battle version of Batman is that even though he's using the same body, I actually think, though, the darker gray works a little bit better. Now, you could look at this really as this is the cleaner Batman before he starts trading blows with Superman. And then, of course, this one gets a little bit more battered down the road, although there's nothing clearly at all smashed into his suit. The one thing that's interesting, though, is when going back to, of course, him carrying around the Kryptonite spear. Not that I need to be telling you guys which side you want to really have this, but if you kind of look at this as, what's reflecting off of light. Light's projecting from this, and it's casting across his body. So, again, like it's here, it's kind of, it's going off to the side. So really, though, if you're looking at this part of his body being airbrushed in green, not that I, again, have to be telling you guys which way you want to do this. You could do whatever you want, really. But I think it probably would make more sense to have the spear on this side, because, again, like this is the side that's going to be reflecting the green light. Move that off to the side, though. If you don't like the green, I'm sure you probably could go in there with maybe some solvents, maybe try to do your best to take off some of that green if you want. I kind of considered it. I mean, I think the green works a little bit better. It adds some personality to the figure, but let's just say you're one that likes this body, but you don't really like the shinier finish. You like this body, but you don't like the green. I think there probably would be a way to go in there and try to remove the green paint. The face sculpt, though, is exactly the same. I do like also that they've added the blue outlining his eyes. That's not something new introduced to this figure alone, because also when we looked at this guy, he had that as well. The bodies are exactly the same. The arms are shared the same, as well as the lower legs of his body. The thing that's also interesting, too, is that this figure carries also over the idea of using a fabric cape. I mean, to look at this cape and then look at this one, same fabric, I think it would be safe to say. Not that the rips are exactly the same. I'm sure somebody's not meticulously following a pattern. Somebody's coming around that mean old foreman, and the foreman's basically saying like, whoa, 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 whoa. I couldn't help but notice, Mary, I couldn't help but notice the way you're cutting that cape. That's not the way that we follow the code of the cape. And then he like points off to the back corner. There's like a little poster right there. And there's just this kind of very rough designed cape where it has a very dedicated idea of how you're supposed to cut that. No, I'm sure they've probably just gone in there and tattered this up. Maybe even a machine had done that too. But it's a little more ripped and frayed at the bottom of the cape. It still has, though, a wire frame that's built on the side and built on the side. So if you'd want to have, I was just do this quickly, rushing this along. But if you guys want to just bend the cape, you can put this guy in a little bit more of a dynamic pose. Like the wind's blowing this way, but the Kryptonite light is shining this way. And there's just a whole lot of stuff going on here with Batman. So I like the head sculpt. I like the body, the mold, and the proportions of his body work well. Of course, you got some nice little gold that they've added there to the utility belt. You've got some gold here on the sides of his boots and some gold here on the sides of his arms. The green isn't just making appearances here on the arm and the shoulder, and it's not just making appearances on the torso and the head. Oh, no. If you move a little bit further down, there's a strip of it right here. So somebody has very, very meticulously, maybe it's even Mary. No, Mary only works in the fabric department. No, you have to talk to Catherine. Catherine handles basically all the green paints. But Catherine did a nice enough job of painting more of it, though, on the side of her face, Batman's face, of course, here on the torso. But then only adds just a suggestive strip down here, down along the side of the leg. It's the only place that actually makes an appearance. The back of his body won't have that at all. Now for the figure's articulation, if you're familiar already with that Batman, hey, you'll already be familiar with this Batman. The head's going to be ball jointed the exact same way. So Batman's head rotates all the way around. It looks up. I know you may have already missed it. It doesn't go honestly up that much at all. It actually works a little bit better too if when you're moving the head, you want to kind of make sure that it's kind of more front and center so the side of his torso isn't getting in the way. If it's in the way, you're obviously going to have a harder time. So if I just turn it this way, you're going to have a harder time obviously being able to bring the head down. So you want to just kind of make sure it's in the middle. The head looks down that low. Sombering, sad Batman. Why did you say that name? Head looks up. The head also rocks back and forth as well. Now the upper torso is going to be on a very generous ball joint. The lower abdomen area also has a very similar style as well. For again, like the arms, the shoulder pads are attached to here, and they're not attached to the tops of his arms. So when it comes to rotating his arms, you shouldn't have too much of an issue doing that. You get still a T pose, so you can bring those arms out 90 degrees. The arm does have its own swivel in his bicep, and both of the arms also do possess only just a single hinge in the elbow, which again, I know some people probably would have preferred a double hinge. I mean, at least it keeps a kind of consistent mold to his arm. A single hinge, I think, does just as well as a double hinge. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. Hands, though, rotate all the way around. You can hinge them back and forth. Legs split out. Listen to the sound of that. That's so nice. The legs go forward. The legs go back. Didn't mean to kick you, by the way. The legs go back. Nice, generous swivel there at the top of the thigh. Double hinge, though, on the knee, so at least he gets it there. And then he's got the ankle articulation. Up and down, back and forth. I should just do this for the next 10 minutes and stop that. Toe articulation as well. Still, the figure does have peg holes on the bottoms of his feet. Make use of a display stand if you're having any issues with this guy properly standing. I find one thing, though, about his feet is that his feet seem to have the way that they basically put, the hinge joint. It seems like if you have it this way and then you try to just move it up just a little bit, just like that much, it seems to jump right away to the next joint section. Does that make sense? It sort of has like, if it hits here, it has to hit like up here as opposed to just the one just above it. So it usually means that if you want to have the feet flat, for example, you just want to adjust them a little bit. The next thing you know, it's popping up way up like that. So based on that, you might have a little more of an issue getting this guy to properly stand. I had a similar issue, in fact, had this guy properly standing. But again, like looking at the two figures, this isn't going to be, the only other time we're going to be looking at this mold. I mean, I already said as well that we're going to be looking at the 2-pack. Now, the 2-pack's going to have the Nightmare Batman, that's going to have basically like the scarf covering the bottom of his face. We're also going to be getting another release of this guy that's going to have the damaged face on the side of his body. Of course, when he recognizes someone's got a similar mother's name as his. And of course, also maybe I'll be bringing back in that Superman for that as well. In the end, though, I do feel like I like the colors better on the Platinum Edition version of Battle Armor Batman. The one that we looked at already was still a good-looking figure. The problem with it, though, I feel like it was too shiny of a chrome finish. This one kind of dilutes it, tones it down just a little bit. Of course, it also introduces a little bit of unnecessary green considered by some. I like the green, honestly, because I'm always probably going to have this guy displayed with the Kryptonite Spear. But if you don't like that, I want to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. If you don't like this necessarily in Bat's hands, I'm sure there probably is a way to get in there and kind of just remove some of the green paint. I personally like it. I do, though, like the green, or I like the gray a lot more on this Batman than we did on the original release. In the end, though, still, if you're also looking to have this guy displayed, not that, again, I want to push you guys in the direction of getting one figure over another, but if you already had like the Snyder Cut Superman and you felt like the size was too big, could I maybe just recommend getting the one that got packed with Doomsday? Because I feel like certainly Superman's height is a little bit more in line. I mean, also Ben Affleck is a lot taller as an actor and also in the movie, but I think like this Superman, I already said this in the review of his figure size is a little bit more in scale with the Batman that we're looking at currently. Now, with the casting light of the green from the Kryptonite Spear, sort of does lend the idea that Batman has to have the spear on one side of his body. You could break the rules and choose to have it on the other side, but then you'd have to kind of think of the trajectory of the light. Well, does it work that way? Because the light clearly is reflecting off this side of his body. Either way, though, what side you choose for Batman, the biggest problem that's going to be facing a figure like this is he's so specifically painted that without having an accessory in his hand, it's going to ask the question of any uneducated friend that's walking past your collection space, well, I like your Batman, but what's the deal with the green that's on one side of his body? Then you have to like let out a big sigh, Put down the tang that you just finished drinking and then have to explain to your uneducated friend while he's about to battle Superman. Of course, your friend has already seen the movie because you forced him to go to it. And then he asks, well, doesn't he have a spear in his hand? You have to let out another sigh and then walk your friend out the front door. Yeah, it's one of those figures that really does need to have an accessory in his hand all the time, just because it then gives the reasoning why he has that green. I think of the two Batman figures, this is the better looking darker gray. The shinier gray worked okay, but I think this one looks a little bit closer to the movie. Some may choose, in fact, to actually pick up this one over the other and try to go in there meticulously and remove the green. I think with a little bit of a solvent, you may be able to try to take off the green successfully. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to tell you to do that, because in the risk that you could potentially break your figure or damage the plastic, I don't want to be the guy that's got all these fingers pointing at him. Either way, though, between the two figures, I do like the gray a little bit better on this one. I'm okay with the green on the side of his body, but I know that might be some things that, well, one of the things that may cause some collectors to pass on this guy altogether. Of the two Batmans that we've looked at, battle armor at least, what do you guys think is the better looking Batman? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid, of course, and hit it with a like. If you guys want to stick around for more, so I hope so. One thing I will say, kind of giving you the nudge to want to come back to this channel, I hope it's for obviously the very well-informed reviews and a little bit of, personality on the side. But one thing I would certainly say too, if you guys wanted to also come back to this channel, we will be looking at the 2-pack that's going to be having the variants of the Nightmare Batman. And it's also going to have another variation of this one that's going to have the Damaged Battle Mask. So I hope you guys will be coming back for that. And I hope also you guys will be coming back checking out all the other well-informed, full with personality videos that are always coming up onto this channel. Of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.